Hey, this is Charles Onyett with IGN, and I'm about to beat up Belial at the end of Act 2. So this is the Act 2 end boss. After you kill him, you move on to Act 3, and he's a multi-phased boss. Before you actually fight him, you have to take care of some trash mobs that are sitting under his platform up there. These guys are pretty easy. As you can see, I'm playing a barbarian, so I'm more about up-close fighting. But I do have some mobility in this case because you can swap out skills whenever you want in Diablo 3. You aren't limited to a very strict skill set like you were in Diablo 2. So what I've equipped here, and what you'll see to be useful in action later, are some fast movement skills like Leap, for instance, where I can do this. And that was a little bit short-ranged, but it helps for gaining distance when I want to get away from a boss's attacks. And I also have this Furious Charge ability, which does that, in which case it just charges me right into him, but that was intentional. But I can also use that to get away from bosses as well, which will come in very handy in the next phase of this fight. I'm a little overpowered for this encounter, so I can just basically stand toe-to-toe with this form of Belial, but in natural video game form. This is not Belial's true aspect. He will reveal himself once I just knock down his power bar a little bit here. So the health system in Diablo 3 means that these boss encounters do tend to be a little bit more fun than they were in Diablo 2, and by a little bit, I mean way more fun. Boss encounters in Diablo 2 were really not very fun, and it was mostly because you were reliant on spamming potions the whole time to stay alive to avoid boss cheapness than you were necessarily skill. So it was basically all about how many potions did you bring and how effectively can you just run around and try to wildly avoid everything. So what you see going on here are a few attack patterns, and I actually don't have my potions equipped there, so I'm going to put potions in. So I can use potions, which I may have to use after this attack. Belial puts his arms in the ground and starts summoning explosions all over the place, so you basically just want to stay off the green turf and to avoid taking damage, and then I can move in and start doing hits. Now the way I've spec'd my barbarian, every hit I do actually recovers some life for me, so as I'm attacking here I'm actually regenerating a little bit. And I found a nice little corner over there to hit him, and that whirlwind attack that you see there that's doing quite a bit of damage, I can move around while I'm doing that, so I'm not stuck in one place. It's good for this encounter because it does give me some mobility so I can get away from attacks like that. Or in that case, just run into the attack. So if he tries to target the ground again, and I'm, like, say, standing still like this, I can use that. That's my charge ability, Furious Charge ability, to actually get away from those explosions. And at this point, I'm going to take a potion, which I can just do with the Q key. And you can see there's actually a cooldown on my potion, so I can't just use those ceaselessly. I have to be a lot more thoughtful about when I'm going to do that. Belial is pretty quick, but I do have quite a bit of armor here. I have him down to about half health, and I'm going to build up my Fury meter again. You'll notice that it's a different resource system in Diablo 3 than there was in Diablo 2. Every class doesn't just have mana. Barbarians have Fury that I build with every hit, and then I can expend the Fury to power special skills, like Whirlwind, which lets me move around and deal damage at the same time. And now he's going to do this explosive attack again, so I'm going to stay away from these explosions. This is just simple running around. I don't know necessarily how this will change in higher difficulty settings, and I'm able to use a potion again. And pick up these health globes, which are dropping pretty regularly from Belial. But I don't know how the experience will necessarily change at higher difficulties in Hell, in Nightmare, and Inferno, because this is just normal mode. You know, it's not terribly complicated, it's pretty straightforward, but it's definitely nowhere close to as frustrating as Diablo 2 encounters, particularly the Act 2 encounter, actually, in Diablo 2, which was against Duriel, who is another one of the lesser evils. Belial is another lesser evil in the Diablo fiction, but yeah, Duriel's encounter was probably the most memorably, terribly, unnecessarily difficult boss encounter. So here it's more of an emphasis on gameplay and less on just slamming your forehead against the wall of frustration. So he's dead, he drops loot, and then I collect this to complete the quest, but that's a brief overview of the Belial encounter in Diablo 3, and for a lot more on the game, you can head over to IGN.com.